Next is IT Contingency Planning. And again, as I mentioned, I've said it a few times now, we want to put things into place so that we can mitigate risk. We can either have redundancy or fault tolerance and just kind of skip over that little blip in the network, if you will. But there's going to be times, for whatever reason, that we can't do that. So if that disaster strikes and that uninterrupted continuity is not an option, then we have to have contingency plan or a plan B. All right. So procedures for relocating operations to a new location is an example. Minimizing disruption and downtime is obviously always our main mandate. But just for your own information, the federal government has some guidelines, as they do. We've mentioned it before. NIST, there's a special publication, SP 800-34, and that outlines the methods and gives guidance for providing alternative methods for infrastructure, for telecommunications, and for mainframe systems. So I definitely recommend that you review this publication. It's great information. It kind of covers all the main areas that you need to be concerned with, and it gives you some guidance from high level all the way down to some granular step-by-step instructions on how to protect these things and how to set up your own policies and procedures within your company. Now, the discovery process can identify gaps and potential remediation steps. Right? That's going to be a process in and of itself that can help us mitigate risks, and we can identify, we don't have enough resources here, or we didn't really realize the impact of this specific area on the rest of the business. We saw them sitting over there in the corner. We never really knew what they did, but now we understand, well, wow, they have a huge impact on every area of the business. Okay, you might find these things out through your process. So in doing that, you identify the gaps. You can add additional resources. You might need to buy new equipment or additional pieces of infrastructure, maybe to have duplicates, right? If we're going to have a hot site, adding resources and increasing resiliency. And then on top of that, you may identify gaps in training. All right, so will all the necessary personnel be available to relocate? What happens if you have 500 employees locally? Your disaster site is, let's say, 2,000 miles away or 1,000 miles away, and all those 500 people cannot or will not, or for whatever reason can't relocate from one location to the other. Are there people available in the new location that you can bring on board relatively quickly? How long will it take to train those people? All right, so does the new location have available personnel at all? You might be in an area where there really isn't 500 people that you could bring on at a moment's notice. All right, so all of these things need to be taken into account when we're doing our BCP and our business impact analysis and our contingency planning, so that we have the bases covered. Right, that's really the name of the game. Is we want to make sure we have as little disruption to the business as possible in the event of some type of downtime.